Okay, time for yet another open stage review. This is for Haymaker, which is Thursdays from 7 to 10. This may be a little bit of a long review because I have a lot of things to say and I have some strong feelings about this. There's some things I really liked and some things I really didn't. And so let's break it down. First off, Haymaker as a venue, you need to take this with a grain of salt. That's a venue I really like. It's a venue I've played at, a venue I recorded. Some things that we recorded our most recent Christmas song, Big Red Soda, was from a performance there. It's a venue that I like a lot. It's a nice, small, intimate venue with good food, good drinks, good atmosphere that I feel good about, like inviting people to come out and see us play, and we've had good experiences there. The open stage is run by a separate organization called Easy Folk. Easy Folk have some feathers in their cap of their own. They do some videography stuff for artists, and then also the thing I know about them independently is that they have an annual music festival. As the name would suggest, it's kind of acoustic-y, singer-songwritery, and so when we kind of get down to the typical open stage question on my reviews of is this a stepping stone, it's a little bit of both. So this isn't how Haymaker books. They don't book through the open stage, but if you knock it out of the park, you definitely can have a conversation with a place that actually does have music getting booked. So there's that opportunity, but this is probably a little bit more of a stepping stone, I suspect, for Easy Folk. If you get on their radar via this open stage that they are running, that is probably a little bit better way to have the conversation about being involved in the things that they are doing. So that's how I'd qualify that. Let's get down to the basics about the open stage itself. Hosting. The host was very friendly, warm, welcoming, inviting, professional. His time management was very good. The format here is the format we know and love, the 3-song, 15-minute format. He kept it on time. Everybody got their allotment. Transitions were very quick, simple, easy, gracious transitions. He did a good job of like welcoming people to the stage and making sure that the crowd was like kind of queued up for and now. And that's no small thing. He had one idea that I thought was great that I'm going to steal. It should be standard practice, but I've never seen anybody do it before. I'm sure somebody has, but I've never seen it, which is he had a tablet up there that with each performer had their name and their Instagram handle if they'd provided it. Just that simple thing is great for like the community building, networking, and it's a question that people have on their minds, like, who is this person that I'm enjoying? And if there's something so easy as they could just follow you on Instagram, I had like 5 or 6 people follow me. That is not normal, even if I'm at a gig and I'm mentioning that. I might get a trickle effect of like one person follows my socials or one person listens on Spotify, something like that. I followed everybody who had their handle. I thought it was a great idea. And it shows that they're in that good space of wanting this to be a community thing. Let's get into some things. So those were things that I generally liked and that were generally working just fine, and we're off to a good start there. There are 2 things in particular I don't like. Actually, let me do one other thing. I forgot. Sorry. Back up. All right. Sort of a bonus, an extra that they have. They are filming, and I mentioned they do videography, so they're filming the show, and they're doing kind of what I used to do at my open stages, which is they're filming it and they're letting you have some access to it. Now, I gave it to people for free as a bonus. On their end, what they offer is that they reach out like the next day and they say, hey, if you'd like we shot the footage, and if you'd like everything from your set, that's $50. That's what the email I received at the current price. That's $50, and we'll get you that footage. Or for free, you can have a clip. Just tell me which song you want a clip from, and then they'll send you like a 30-second clip. And those clips were, I got the clip to see what it was like, and I'll say that the clip was good. The quality of that clip was good. Both sound and video of the clip were good. Would I have gone $50? That's kind of up to you, but you can be aware that, hey, that's a thing you can do. get a high quality video clip. Now, on to some things I did not like. Okay, and I'm going to start with one that's maybe a little bit more just like my preference, a strong preference I have, but I'll kind of make the case for why it matters to me. And then I'm going to get to one that for me was a much bigger concern that I had. So, the sign-up process. This is pretty much exclusively an advanced sign-up via a Google form. The Google form opens for business on Tuesday, and you kind of put down your information, and you choose a preference for which of 3 blocks you want to be part of, the 7 to 8, the 8 to 9, the 9 to 10, and then Thursday morning they get back to you with an email that says you're in, and indeed we're going to put you in the preferred block you had. I don't like, normally what I don't like is just a hybrid sign up where, you could walk in and you could sign up, but also there have been some advanced sign ups via our Facebook group or whatever, which I think encourages some dive bombing. With this, it being exclusively in advance, I kind of question, and I don't know, whether or not this sort of crosses the line into gatekeeping. And if it's gatekeeping, in my book, this is no longer an open stage. It's a showcase at that point. If someone is curating the list, if people are applying, in essence, through the Google form, they're being reviewed and then selected, then that's not an open stage to me. I can't remember if the Google form included that we had to give a link to a clip of us playing or something. I don't think so, but I have to fill out enough Google forms where I do have to do that for venue auditions that my memory's a little fuzzy on that point. So I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt and say I can't say that they're gatekeeping, but it's awfully close. It's a hair's breadth away from something where I'd say this is a showcase, it's not an open stage. And it is still the case. I don't believe that you can walk in night of and get on the list. I don't believe that that's the case. Maybe it is. I certainly didn't see anybody who seemed to be doing that. But I can live with that. I don't like it. It's not what I would ever do, and I can kind of make the argument against it with gatekeeping and with dive bombing. But let's put that aside. More seriously, sound was a major issue. The live sound was a major issue for me, to the point that for me it's actually kind of a deal breaker. I wouldn't want to do that again. This is and it comes down to this. They are choosing. So in a typical open stage, we all can kind of picture and I talk about this in my open stage diaries, what gear do you need? So the rubric I'm using when I try to grade these open stages, I try to be pretty forgiving. There's a lot of ways to be a good open stage. You don't have to be just like mine or just like my favorite ones. I try to break it down to these, kind of indices and give a pretty generous assessment. For me, when it comes down to what's the sound like, there is a subjective part. I know it when I hear it. Good sound, bad sound. And I'll try to describe them. It was murky. It was this. It was that. But usually, as long as you've got sort of the essential gear, I'll just kind of check the box for you. And to me, the essential gear is this. Who's walking in this door? It's singer-songwriters. So you got to have a mic. You got to have an instrument cable because this singer-songwriter needs to sing into a mic. They need to plug their guitar into the PA. And then, what if they're they're an amateur and they don't have an acoustic electric guitar that plugs in. We need a second mic to mic that guitar. What if there's 2 of them singing together? Well, I guess we need 2 or 3 mics with mic stands that are happy to be here, as you've heard me say before, and a couple instrument cables. So if you're ready to accommodate kind of typical solo and duet acts, all right, you've got the open stage thing covered. That's what we expect walking in the door. Anything else is extra. I'll often point out, they had a house guitar, they had a this, they had a that. That was not the case here. Okay, what they're doing instead, and I knew it was I had concerns the second I saw that this was going to be the case. They had, I forget what this kind of microphone's called, but it looks like a novelty lollipop. Or a ping pong paddle. It's a stem and then a big cage with a bulb inside. So it's kind of like an old-timey microphone. This, I'm pretty sure this was 90% sure this was an ear trumpet mic. It's these sort of boutique, very sensitive, very stylish, very sensitive microphones that are, truth be told, pretty good for recording, but also, truth be told, not very good for live sound. They're a little too sensitive to really push out, to push much signal, because they feed back very easily. What we had here is a situation where it's like, oh brother, where art thou? Where the Soggy Mountain Boys are all gathered around in a radio station, a single mic. And the only times that I've had to do that, so, sorry, I'm kind of going a mile a minute here, but okay, here's my issue. They made a choice to take each performer and just give them a single microphone of this type. A single ear trumpet microphone that is just to capture you and your performance. You're not going to play the mic. It's out here in front of you. It's like kind of midway down your chest, so it's midway between your voice and your sound hole. It's for your guitar and your voice, and the instruction given was just do what you always do. Just do your thing. Just do your performance, and it'll cover you. So here's the situation. For live sound, that's a terrible idea in my experience. That's a terrible way to get live sound. It is a make-do situation at best for live sound. For recording, you can kind of make the argument. And to be fair, the clip I got, which is using this as recording, as I mentioned, was fine. It was good. It was clear. That sensitive microphone, it was clear. I would have liked it better if I'd been able to play the mic for my performance, and it wasn't just here's my voice, because as a singer I've got two instruments. I've got my voice and I've got the microphone. You're kind of robbing me of one and doing me a bit of a disservice, especially as a seasoned player who knows how to play a mic. You're doing me a disservice. It's not going to be my favorite clip. It's not going to be my favorite performance. I know how to compensate and get the most out of it, but it's a make-do situation. This is not how to do live sound, and there was no reason that it needed to be that way. There's no reason that this couldn't have been. There is house sound at Haymaker. There's an 8-channel board on the wall. Could have been using this. Could have come up, been comfortable singing into a mic, plugging into a cable, and also you've got this ear trumpet out here which you're using to record straight to video for your clip. But this is not doing it. This is not cutting it for live sound. To be clear to anyone who's not familiar with why that would be, because that mic is so sensitive and because it is now casting such a wide net, couple things. First, you can't really put up the gain to get more volume out of it, because it will start to hear itself in reflection somewhere and it will feed back. And it doesn't take much to get it there. I know this I've had people come to my open stages wanting to do their own mic, sort of shortly post-COVID, and bringing me an ear trumpet. I know what's going to happen. I've seen it happen. I've had to deal with this before, and I know exactly how that's going to play out, is that this mic is too sensitive for live use in these kind of situations. So they had it very quiet, and that is doing a disservice. And it was a disservice not only to me, I'm probably the most seasoned player you're going to have at your open stage. There were less seasoned players who basically were rendered inaudible. Like, you couldn't tell what they were doing. You couldn't hear their voices. They're not going to compensate. I'm at least leaning in. I'm at least playing that mic a little bit and I'm trying to mix myself. Other players aren't going to be able to do that. Every single player, and I knew some of the players, so I had a frame of reference. Every single player was done a disservice from a live sound perspective by that choice. And it is, I think this open stage, were they simply to make, and they had actually two of these mics. So even when I'm up there, it's definitely a philosophy and a strategy that they are employing. They didn't put one on my guitar and one on my voice. They're very committed to the one mic method. That's a terrible method, in my opinion. It's such a terrible method, in my opinion, that I will never go back to this open stage. For me, that is a deal breaker. I would never do that again. It's just a waste of time for me to like have to struggle and be frustrated by the sound. It is so important, such an important part of the open stage experience. What separates good open stages from mediocre ones from bad ones, most often, one of the biggest problems is the sound. Good ones are, you got good sound. That's part of what open stage players go there for. Is a little bit of that kind of rock and roll dream of, I'm a rock star. I'm up here and I'm getting sound like the pros, because most people don't own a PA and they don't hear themselves on a mic, and so they want it to sound great. It's not that hard to make it sound pretty great. Great enough that it is inspiring to that player. This is not it. This can't be it. I think that the host, the organization, is prioritizing their version of how they want to get the sound straight to video. That they love this mic, they love this situation for how it plays on video, at the expense of how it plays in the room. This is a packed room. There's conversation. There's din. Couldn't hear people. There were acts where I was literally in the front row, could not hear them. I walked around, could not hear them. That's the kind of thing, and if you're a host and that's what's happening, you gotta be on that. I doubt, given my experience with these kind of mics, I doubt there was anything they could do, the hosts. They can't turn up the volume because it's gonna feedback. And so they just let it play out like that. And in my view, with all due respect, that's poor hosting, that's a poor decision, that's a poor metric. And that's a fundamental metric. I don't care about the clip. That's bonus. I care about the moment. In the moment, in the room. I care about that sounded good. That went well. If I get a clip, so be it. That's good. Great. And this could be easily solved by just doing a hybrid approach. Okay, here for the room, we're using house sound. For the clip we're going to give you, we're going to use this very sensitive microphone that's just going to sort of capture what's going on here. This way that we like, that works for us. No reason you couldn't do that. That's what I would suggest. I'd love to update this to update this review. I'd love to hear that they've made some changes and that they're doing it a little differently, and I give it another shot, and I'll gladly go back if there's something new to review. Till then, with all due respect, for me, this is one I don't recommend solely for that reason. I'd live with the sign up thing. I've warned you about it. You can take what you want with it. I can't recommend this because the live sound is frustrating, and it was a struggle for everybody that I saw. Everybody was done a disservice, and that's not good enough. There's plenty of other ones that do a better job of that. Practically everywhere does a better job of live sound than this. So, unfortunately, that's how I feel about it. I hope I'm not coming across as too curmudgeon-y or mean. I say it with respect and with some love. There's a lot of things they're doing well. I wish they'd do this differently. They're clearly very committed to it, very deliberate about it. So I have to disagree with it, and I have to say that because of that, I can't recommend this. So, sorry about that. Till next time.